Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Rolling Credits. I am Seth, aka According to Seth. As always, I'm joined by Gums, Pat, and Kirby. And today we have another lovely special guest, Lauren. And we're going to be breaking down all things Christmas and answering that age-old question, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? So, without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. And we're going to go down this rabbit hole of what really qualifies as a Christmas movie. So, first things first. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? We're going to get off right off the bat, baby.
Yes. All right, and the subject, it's done. Okay.
Yeah, we're done.
We're done.
Yes, let's move on to the next topic. Right?
Yeah. Who are we starting with?
I want to hear Gums' answer because he looks like he's just ready to spit facts.
Yeah, it's 100% a holiday Christmas movie. Like 100%. It came out at Christmas time. It has Christmas elements. They talk about Christmas. They say yippee-ki-yay, which you only say around Christmas. Then the last time you said yippee-ki-yay outside of December? I'll wait.
I went to McDonald's and I said it.
So
like
I
a McMuffin.
Fully, like,
yippee-ki-yay.
I think fully Die Hard is a Christmas movie. And in fact, the fact that people have to debate if it's a Christmas movie only adds to this mysterious realm of Die Hard fandom that, like, I have to now put it on around Christmas. You know what I mean? Like, and now I've got to go against the grain on purpose. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah. Kirby,
I'm actually gonna jump in here. Because I know I'm gonna get shit for this. I'm a no. I am against the grain on this one. I think Die Hard's a movie that occurs on Christmas, and I think we're gonna get into that debate here on a lot of these things. I think, especially in the realm of how many Christmas movies truly exist in this world that are directly like involving the message for Christmas, I think the criteria gets bumped a little higher in that sense. And I just don't think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I think it's not as directly into the Christmas elements enough for me to warrant it as a Christmas movie. I think it's an action movie. I love Die Hard. I think it's a phenomenal movie. I don't think it's a Christmas movie. I that's my take. I know we're gonna get into a lot of other movies now that's gonna spur into that debate.
No.
But I don't think it is.
Mm-hmm.
No, Pat, we are. You're not.
Yeah, I'm getting into this today. All right, this is what we're doing here.
Oh,
go ahead, Kirby.
Okay. I have to say 100% yes. Die Hard is a Christmas movie, and I'll tell you why. You know, when you think of a Christmas movie, what do you think of? You think of the holiday season. You think of the Christmas spirit, people giving out gifts. You think of Santa Claus, and you have all of that in some sort of way in Die Hard. You know, Bruce Willis is running around just delivering gifts of freaking bullets and vengeance to the entire cast.
Like, the take we needed.
And yeah, he sends, bombs down elevator shafts wrapped up in a bow. Like, Die Hard is 100% a Christmas movie, and Bruce Willis is the Santa Claus. That's where I'm going with that.
Wow.
And
I'm in to have Bruce Willis being Santa Claus. I'm all about that.
And actually, Hans Gruber is the bad child that gets the coal in his stocking.
He's
in the
Krampus.
form of being thrown off
Krampus.
of getting thrown off the building. Like, absolutely, I will go with Die Hard as a Christmas movie.
I have to agree. Die Hard is a Christmas movie. When we go into what makes a Christmas movie, everything that you guys are going to bring up happens in Die Hard. It's a man just trying to get home to his family for the holidays. It is a moral dilemma. It is the presents giving to the bad guys. It happens. The whole movie is in a Christmas party. So you have to watch it around Christmas. There's so many aspects that when we talk about it later, what classifies as a Christmas movie, you're going to say, oh, well, Die Hard hit all those marks. So it is 110% a Christmas movie. Pat, you can leave.
If we're going to sit here and pretend we're not reaching with the presents comment, what are you serious right now? No shot, right?
It's spelled presents, not presents.
Yeah.
Like the ambiance of him being there.
So, honestly, Kirby and Lauren, your guys' point kind of just blew my mind. And rethinking about that movie, I was gonna say I didn't really think it was a Christmas movie, but now thinking about it, my guy Bruce Willis is Santa. And I actually read a really fun fact yesterday that Die Hard during the month of December is searched 3 times more than any time of the year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just that alone, I feel like if they're searching for it in December, it's got to be, right?
It's a Christmas. That movie is all about Christmas miracles.
It is.
So I gotta go with it.
It made me believe.
Yeah.
On the Die Hard as a series, then, right? Because I know that people also say Die Hard 2 is a Christmas movie. Then, so people say that Die Hard 2 is also what? Where then does that end in the series? Is Die Hard 3? It's like nope, no longer a Christmas movie.
I mean, Die Hard with a Vengeance. Yeah.
We don't talk about Live Free and Die Hard. We don't talk about that one.
No, anything after Die Hard 3 doesn't exist. But no, Die Hard 3 is set in the summer in New York. There's no Christmas elements to it. Die Hard 2, yeah, you can make a case for it because it does happen at Christmas. You know, he's waiting for his wife to fly in for the holiday, and again, Christmas miracles. Mm-hmm. But 3, no way.
Gift wrapping bombs down elevator shafts has to be clipped immediately for the people in the world.
Yeah, you blew my mind, honestly.
Okay.
Well, they were definitely shocked what they got. So
yeah. They were surprised.
Surprises. Surprise!
Christmas miracle.
Yeah, we just
so.
All right, good.
Yeah, I was gonna say so.
Surprise!
Before I get into some of these other movies that could be qualified as Christmas movies, what is your idea of a Christmas movie? Like, does it have to have Santa Claus in it? Does it just have to be during the time of the year? Like, as a Jewish person growing up, like, I didn't really celebrate Christmas. My idea of Christmas is through these movies. Like, I live vicariously through these Christmas movies. So it's like, for me, I think it has to have, like, Santa, or it has to have, like, a tree. There's got to be snow in the background and just jolly. So with that being said, I'm going to start with you, Pat. I want to hear your thoughts first.
Yeah, so for me, I think this is like where like I really skew in this debate, and it does relate to the Die Hard comments and stuff like that. I think the overarching subject of the movie has to be Christmas, which is where I really differ from like a lot of like the Die Hard comments and stuff like that. Is that it's a great movie, and I love them very much. But the overarching subject of the movie is not Christmas in and of itself. So you look at things like Rudolph or Elf and all these other movies and whatnot. I think it's, yes, you have this character arc and stuff, but the overarching subject of the movie is Christmas at the end of the day. And the message is about Christmas, and like it's all kind of behind that. So that's kind of my main criteria in and of itself. So we can get into debating a lot of these other series and whatnot, but that's going to be my main kind of our overarching topic about what I qualify as a Christmas movie.
Yeah. So to restructure that, to say that one more time, like it has to literally be about Christmas. Like that's
yes,
what
in my opinion. Yes.
Okay. No, that's a good point. For me, it's going to be real-time timing of release. So I think if you're in that window of December, like it matters to me because one thing that me and my family really like to do, we like to go to the movies for Christmas or like around that time to join as a family. So like I'm putting those in as like, these are Christmas movies where even if it's about action or if it's about Christmas or if it's about being sad, if it's about, fighting aliens, whatever it is, that's bringing us together as a family during Christmas time. That's what Christmas is about. That can be one of the parameters to being a Christmas movie, right? The other one is smell. And I know that sounds weird, but real life physical smell of the air outside, when the weather is turning, it's just a different vibe in the air. And I'm just like, it's Christmas time. Around those times when those movies are coming out and I can smell it, I'm originally from Minnesota. So literally there's this pine tree smell you get and you go, it's Christmas time. And whenever I think of movies around that time, I think of that smell. And I know it sounds a little odd, but it's fun. The spirit of Christmas, I think it's got to be there. It's got to intertwine with like the giving. Every Christmas movie should have something to do with like giving or bringing family together or overcoming obstacles as a unit. I think that's very important. And then also teaching people about being humble and just like, it's not about what you get, it's about what you give type thing. So that spirit of it, the setting has to be snow on the ground or pine trees or, it's just got to be like a setting in the movie. And then the last one is I really think that in order to be technically a Christmas movie, it's got to have some mysticism. So it's got to have like Santa or the elves mentioned, like just a mentioning of them, of these mystic people. I think that's kind of like has to happen, or painting in the background or something like that.
Sure.
That's mine.
I mean, I think that, Gums, like, I'm kind of on the same page there. The big thing that, I was going to bring up that you did talk about is the spirit. The spirit of Christmas is there. Like, you have that spirit of giving. You have the whole Christmas miracle thing. And, it's about family. It's about community. That is a really big part of Christmas movies for me. That's what I think just encapsulates all of what Christmas is. It's just that spirit. It's got that giving mentality, and it's got the the family aspect, the community aspect. That's a big part of it for me.
I'm gonna kind of go the same. Not necessarily. It does not have to have Santa. It does not have to have snow. It doesn't have anything like that. It is more of the dilemma in the beginning and what happens with the family and the environment and the spirit of the whole movie brings the end result of the coming together. So what classifies as a Christmas movie is what dilemma is happening in the beginning and how did coming together bring you to that point. So it does have to have some sort of flip. The characters in the beginning are not the same characters at the end. And like in Die Hard, family brought them together, family motivated them to change. So a lot of the Christmas movies have to do with the spirit of Christmas, with coming together with the family. So the holidays, no matter what holiday it is about family. And that may be blood, that may be friendship. So it doesn't necessarily have to be blood family. It could be moral dilemma where your friends, the family you choose, comes together.
Great point.
I have a few other. Right. Oh, you're good. I was gonna say I have a few others that can be classified as Christmas movies, and then I'll end with one because I kind of want to talk about this one. But Batman Returns, yes or no, Christmas movie?
Ooh.
Yep, Mr. Freeze.
If you go with Gums in regards to when the movies come out, then yes, because Christmas is also kind of related to the magic of Christmas. You hear that a lot, magic of Christmas, magic of Christmas. So when the movie comes out, like Harry Potter, it's the magic of Christmas, it's the coming together. So technically a lot of movies can be considered a coming together movie. It's just when do they come out, what is going on in the world when they come out. So that kind of helps as well.
I mean, I got to go with yes, because, they have, like, we were talking Batman Returns, right? You've got that that scene, like, in the movie where they have, like, the big Christmas tree. You have the symbolism of Christmas. And what is it? They were dropping
bombs.
The present, the gift wrapped bombs.
Penguins.
The little the penguins and stuff like that. Yeah. Like I think so. Yeah.
Brings in the snow, the little penguins coming in.
Yep. They have the spirit of Christmas there. 100%.
Yeah.
Just know how this pod's gonna go.
Well, I mean, if you want to go like outreach, Matrix is a Christmas movie because it was.
Whoa!
I will say this one in and of itself, I do think is a little closer to like being in the right criteria for me. I think inherently, I do just kind of have to say no. I don't think that. It's superhero movies for me relative to that get very tough because it's a Batman film. You know what I mean? If I'm gonna say something about like what this film is, I don't inherently say this is a Christmas film. I say this is a Batman film, and I think that's kind of where I really. But this is probably the one in this that I think that we're gonna wind up debating. That I'm like, I do get it. I think I see this one a lot clearer than a lot of the other movies I think that we're talking about. But I think at the end of the day, I see it as like, this is a Batman movie. I don't see this as a Christmas movie. It's also not a movie necessarily on Christmas time that I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch Batman Returns. Like, it's just not, it's not in that list of movies I think I'm going to flick on.
I'm with Pat on this one too, because I do see that it does take place. Like there's snow in the background. You have the Christmas tree. I get that aspect, but like first and foremost, it's a Batman movie. Like Bruce Wayne's my guy. So I think Gums, did you have something you wanted to bring up before I bring up the next movie?
And I had misspoke too because I had yelled Mr. Freeze, but this is Returns, so this has everything to do with like Penguin and Catwoman.
Yeah.
But I'm still there with it. Like it's one of those movies where if you put it on even now, it's kind of has this campy vibe, this spirit of Christmas, this magical vibe where you're kind of like intoxicated by it. And if you put it on around Christmas time, you and your family are probably going to sit there and watch it. Like, you probably won't just cut it off. And like it just has this vibe around it, this uplifting thing that does something to you that you're just like, this is really good childhood memories, or this is just really good stuff. I mean, Danny DeVito's in there. Like you just kind of feel this connection to it, so to speak.
So my next movie, and I'm going to start off with my opinion here because I totally didn't realize this, but Iron Man 3. So Iron Man 3, when he goes to that little town, there's snow, there's a Christmas tree, it's happening on Christmas. He's giving gifts to a kid. So if we're going with all of our answers, I have to classify that as a Christmas movie, right? So what do you guys think about Iron Man 3 as a Christmas movie? Gums?
It's a no for me, dog. What did he say from that one musical show? It's a no for me, dog.
It's a no.
I'd say no. I don't consider that. I don't even think, to be honest, I'm going to get called out for this. I really didn't like many of the Iron Man movies in general. And so I really think that plays an effect of why I just consider this not to be a Christmas thing at all. The first one is probably the best one in my opinion. Everything else is hit or miss. So I am biased towards it. And I will say that I'm going to say no to that one.
Yeah. Iron Man 1 was for sure the superior movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Pat, you look like you got a lot to say here.
Well, I'm a little confused on your answer, to be perfectly frank with you a little bit, because especially if we're going to just talk about what we were doing with Batman, because I'm with Gums here that it's not, but I think if we're going to use the argument that you and me just used, that's inherently a Batman film, how is this one not inherently an Iron Man film? I think that's just something that more directly
came out in December.
Yeah, it comes out in December. I get that. Like
Batman came out in December. This Iron Man 3 was in May, I believe. So.
Oh, was it really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then I think that even further kind of dives into that point. This is an Iron Man film. It occurs during Christmas, and that's going to be kind of a big kind of point that I'm making. This is like the plot is set during Christmas. I don't really see how you can run this one as a Christmas movie. I think it's got to be inherently an Iron Man film.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, one thing that, when we're talking about this, we have to remember that two things can be true. Once, it can also be inherently a Batman film, but it can also be a Christmas movie. It's not, stuck in one lane. You can split lanes.
That's right.
You can split lanes. But I will say Iron Man 3, no. I don't consider it a Christmas movie because the main focus is not the Christmas aspect of it. Whereas, we brought up, Die Hard. He's specifically at a Christmas party, and Christmas, that time of year, plays a pretty big role in it. Iron Man 3, no. I got to go with no.
Yeah.
Iron Man 3. Well, Iron Man 3, no. And to kind of add on to what you guys are saying, so Die Hard is one night, 1 or 2 nights. It is Christmas time. Batman is around Christmas time. Iron Man is a Christmas scene. So it's different. So it's a flashback. Yeah. Christmas movies, I would say, have to kind of keep the theme throughout the whole thing. And Iron Man is a flashback. So, there's a lot of movies that have holiday flashbacks, that kind of puts the whole, is Deadpool a Christmas movie? There was a Christmas tree in there. No. But... So I'm going to say Iron Man no, because it is a scene with Christmas and it doesn't evolve around that time.
That's a good point there. I agree with that.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's the theme isn't there the whole movie.
You've got from December 1st, maybe right after Thanksgiving, to January 2nd in the movie time where something has to be happening, where it kind of really, that's kind of that Christmas movie. That's where the plot has to take place, in between that holiday season, so to speak, to really check off that box for me for setting most of the time, right? So
Yeah.
Okay, so Iron Man's not a Christmas movie. Sorry, guys.
Don't be so sad. You're all right.
It's okay. Edward Scissorhands.
Heck yeah, baby.
Okay, let's go, Gums. Let's hear why.
Yeah, man. Edward Scissorhands has definitely got to be a Christmas movie. I do believe it was released in December. They do have a lot of snowy and Christmas scenes on the ground. It is a movie that is close to my heart because you always watch it. Like it is a movie about a man with scissor hands who doesn't know how to be a person, right? Like what better Christmas message do you have than this than giving somebody values and teaching them how to be a person and how to fit in with society? Like, you know what I mean? Like everything about this movie to me says, hey, you've got the setting, you've got the spirit, you're trying to teach them something, and you're becoming family at the same time. And the timing of release, I believe, is there too. Somebody can back me up or check me on that. I think Edward Scissorhands is 100% a Christmas movie. I think it has all the qualities of like that spirit of Christmas and the setting and everything else we need for it. And it's a great movie to watch when you're stuck in the house, especially with the snow on the ground. If you're from up north like I was, like, and enjoy it. So it's a mysticism in there too. It's fake, you know, but it's nice.
Kirby, Lauren.
Ooh, I was actually initially going to say no. But Gums, you kind of just did change my mind on that. Just with everything that you said, because, you know, again, you're bringing out that spirit of Christmas. Like there's that Christmas miracle, and there's the giving of a pretty significant gift. Like you're giving him the gift of humanity. Like that's something that he did not really have and did not know a lot about. So initially I was going to go no. And I'll be perfectly honest, I haven't watched Edward Scissorhands in probably 12 years. So I'm not as familiar with the movie itself, but I mean, you just changed my mind. You changed my answer. I'm gonna have to go with yes on that one.
I'm gonna have to go with yes because of all the things that you mentioned, the snowiness, the magical aspect of it, and it brings back to the whole like missing a family, and with the miracle, he has now a family, he has a place in the world, and putting all that aside, it's something that my family and I watched around Christmas. So I have that personal attachment to it, and it makes me think of being a child watching it around the holidays.
I was kind of with Kirby in the sense of like, I don't think I've watched this movie in maybe, like 12, maybe like well over a decade at this point. So I really struggled thinking about this one. I thought Gums made a lot of really good points on this, and I really I almost want to defer and not make like a hard stance on this, just because like I just don't remember this movie so well. But I think at the end of the day, I do have to remember kind of what I said with that first question about like what I use as criteria for a Christmas movie. So like I'm gonna probably say no with a little bit of an asterisk next to it. That I need to like, this is like my opinion really shouldn't really matter as much on this one, because like, dude, when was listening, do you even know what the freaking characters in the movie are? And I'm like, not really. Yeah, I couldn't really like tell you, like, I even plot points I'm like kind of like a little lost on. So it's just, that's one, like, can't really take a hot take on it. I more just have to remember what I used at the beginning of this pod for that to be able to just make a point on what I had, what I'm saying is criteria here.
Fair.
For sure.
I feel like we're seeing a theme here with, you know, Batman Returns. We got Edward Scissorhands, all Tim Burton films.
All Tim Burton. Yeah.
All Tim Burton films, and
Maybe
all have
Santa.
Christmas.
And
Maybe he's Santa.
around Christmas time too.
Exactly, which brings me to my next movie, another Tim Burton film, Nightmare Before Christmas, which I'm starting off, and I gotta say, I do not think this movie is a Christmas movie, only because the song they sing is "This is Halloween." This is Halloween.
Oh no!
So that's my reasoning. Gums, you take it back there.
You just killed Gums.
I killed Gums.
I think you only said that because you're so obsessed with Halloween. Let's be frank.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Halloween is my favorite holiday, and even I think Nightmare Before Christmas has to have the dual typing of a Christmas and a Halloween movie. Like, I can watch it at either or. I think that's one of the best movies ever made, animated-wise. Like, that's crazy. The claymation in there is amazing. This is what I remember Tim Burton for. It's It has everything you need. First of all, check me again. I believe this actually came out around Christmas time, not around Halloween, but it's pretty darn close to the same time period, right? He becomes Santa Claus. Okay, there's number one. He has reindeer and ghost dog reindeer. Okay, there's number two. He's fighting the boogeyman to give gifts to kids who are scared of death. I don't know how else to put this. I really believe that this is a Christmas movie. I think that he's doing all the right things. The timing in real life is good there. As far as like when the release date of it was, the spirit is there because he's trying to overcome himself and saying, I can be more than just this skeleton. I can give to these kids. I can give to the world. The family aspect is there. He's not doing this alone. He's fighting demons and mentally and physically, and he's really trying to bring it out. And I just think there is the mysticism that's there, and that's why I think Halloween movies that have that can be a little bit I wouldn't say corny is the word, but like are animated or have magical abilities and powers. Another thing with mysticism, like Santa Claus is magical. I think those add a little bit more to it. So I think that this movie is 100% dual typed, Halloween and Christmas. I actually watch it more at Christmas than I do Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go. God damn it, Kirby.
What's my name? I mean, okay, I have to go with our Lord and Savior Disney on this. And when you get into, the holiday season, through Christmas, the Haunted Mansion just turns into Nightmare Before Christmas. Like, they run it straight through Christmas. And that to me just tells me, it's a Christmas movie. They run it through that holiday for a reason. Disney does everything for a reason. And yes, the spirit is there. You have, Jack Skellington trying to become more than just this Halloween figure. And he learns a lot about himself, about the spirit of Christmas, be it like maybe a misguided adventure, but he does have that spirit there. And, Disney does run it as a Christmas movie. So, yes. Yeah.
I'm going to agree. It is a Christmas movie for a lot of reasons. Name of the movie, Nightmare Before Christmas. And then it goes into the whole spirit of Christmas, going back to Gum's 2 points he made were timing. So you were saying like around Thanksgiving to New Year's. Well, this is, December 31st. That's really close to kind of the end of the year. And if you want to go into the whole original Saint Nick, there was a lot of taboo with that. So he's trying to, he's giving gifts to the kids. That brings into the whole, Saint Nick. There's a lot of weird things about the original Saint Nick. So the origins. And in a lot of movies, it talks about how the character changes in the beginning and becomes a little bit more at the end. So Jack Skellington, he doesn't want to be just Halloween. He doesn't want that. He wants more. So he wants to bring people together. He brings all the holidays together. He tries to fix what was broken. So there's definitely a lot of aspects of the movie that would classify as a Christmas movie.
100%.
Yeah, and I kind of am actually going to kind of be in that same camp. I think it's more of a Christmas movie than a Halloween movie, actually, in a lot of ways. And I think Gum said it kind of perfectly in that I think of this movie more to watch around Christmas time than I think I do more than Halloween time of year, just overarchingly. I think that, the story, obviously, to make my criteria points on all these, is, definitely directly about Christmas, even if it is also kind of directly about Halloween in its own way. I think it has that aspect really kind of tied in there pretty closely. I think that the way that then once you deep dive in there, you're right, messaging wise, just kind of that coming together, just more about that Christmas, it just kind of really spirals that drain to where I think this should be considered more of a Christmas movie. But yeah, I think what's really going to be the nail in the coffin for me is what Gum said of when I'm thinking about, so when I'm sitting on the couch around Christmas, what movie am I throwing on? I think that this movie falls more in that folder than I think it does in the Halloween folder for me.
So I have a fun theory here that I saw the other day, which kind of would make this a Christmas movie. But have you guys seen that? Basically, they think Jack Skellington and his dog is the Grinch because when the Grinch dies, he basically is transported to Halloween Town, and like Jack Skellington, he always loved Christmas, but he doesn't remember it. It's a distant like memory. So him falling in love with Christmas and all of that is kind of like pointing towards that, they're connected. And then they also have the dog and things like that. So I don't know. Have you guys heard of that? What are your thoughts on that? It's pretty crazy,
I haven't heard
right?
that before, but I do like that kind of concept. I think it adds just a little bit of like, I don't know, just a funny kind of 2 cents onto the thing. I mean, the Grinch running Halloween Town kind of checks out, right? Like, this kind of works out in that favor. Yeah, don't be wrong, to stretch, but I think it's a fun stretch. Like, I think it's just a cool little 2 cents to have. Do I think there's anything you should really do with that, like from a canonical standpoint, like from? And no, probably not. Leave it there. Let it be kind of one of those fan service theories. I don't think there's anything more you really need to do with that. I like it. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Well, going off of that, the Grinch and Jack Skellington, they both made their costumes. They both made their, Max and Zero, the head, Rudolph, if you may. So there is a lot of similarities. And, at the end of the Grinch, his heart grows 3 times too big. So now he has this heart, and the whole it's a distant memory. It goes into the whole, when you die, do you really remember your past life and all that stuff? So it's a stretch that is feasible. So it could, there are things that you can mold it into existence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a theory I can get behind 100%. Like, I don't think that, we'll ever see anything about it outside of like some crazy theory on the internet, but it's something I can get behind. Yeah.
And they both like songs. They both sing.
Yeah.
100% conspiracy theory that I get behind, that and the pyramids in the ocean, right? So like, why not? The Grinch had a heart condition. The thing was growing and shrinking, and he passed away, and now he's just trying to bring kids Christmas again. Like, let's rock with it. It would be funny to have a Disney what if of that, but otherwise, it is what it is.
Yeah. So. Next subject here. This is gonna be a tough one for you guys. What is your favorite Christmas movie? If you had to pick one, what do you guys got for me? And we'll end with me. But Pat, let's start with you.
So I think when I was first going through this, I think low hanging fruit for me was Elf, because I think I love that movie so much. But just thinking back kind of a little bit on my childhood, a little bit more, like in terms of like what I think I watched almost every Christmas, I think it was probably gonna be the animated version of the Grinch. Mm-hmm. And I think that one's just too classic for me. It's that the two that I had a hard time with in terms of like thinking of my childhood was the animated version with animated Grinch and the claymation Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And those are the two where I was like, these were every Christmas I watched these. And we'll get into those. So I think I'm gonna lean on the Grinch. But I think that but those two I think were just like the nostalgia classics for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Pat, that's not your fault, because your substitute teacher rolled those TVs in back in your day.
Yes,
you had to watch.
I'm in. Like, sign me back up. Like, I don't need no smart board. Just give me the TV with the massive back, pop in the VCR, and I'm watching the Grinch. I'm all in on that.
What were you saying, Kirby?
Who's next?
Well, I guess we'll go with you since you already have Mike.
All right, cool. I was just putting a lot of thought into this. It's my knee-jerk response, Jingle All the Way, because it's got the Governator. It's got the Governator, and I love it. But 100%. But as I think about it, there is a movie that my family and I used to watch every Christmas when I was young. I grew up in New York. So used to the snow and all that stuff. So, Christmas Eve, it'd be snowing. Like we would go out and we would, go through the neighborhoods and look at Christmas lights. We would come home, we would make some hot chocolate, we would sit on the couch, you have the tree with all the presents, and then my mom would actually put on The Little Drummer Boy.
Oh, wow.
And I'm that old. It was a VHS. And we would throw on The Little Drummer Boy and we watch it every single Christmas. And granted, this is a more religious themed Christmas movie, but that for me just like it just kind of ties in with my entire childhood. I have not watched this since I was probably like 13 or 14 years old, but up until that point we watched it every single Christmas. So that to me is like my Christmas movie of choice.
Kirby, before you go any further, I think I speak for all of the viewers of the podcast when they say we all thought you were going to say Home Alone, and then when you got home from the Christmas, looking at Christmas lights, you and your family started setting the traps for Santa, and I couldn't be the only one that was like, "Oh, the Little Drummer Boy, that was great," So I want to let you know that I like you a lot for that.
I also have to say before you go, Lauren, sorry, your setup of that was just like so beautiful, and I was like, I felt like I was
it brought
with you.
tears.
I got some tears. I'm like, damn, I want to go to
expectations
Christmas
this Christmas. I gotta find that DVD. Well, I'm gonna have to say that I feel like a lot of people, the movie that they grew up with is probably the movie that hits them most. So Kirby knows I watch a lot of Christmas movies on the Hallmark side. So there is a lot to choose from. But as far as what hits home, The Grinch is a big one. But I'm actually going to say Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that one was high on the list too.
Yeah.
I feel that.
It's more of what movie do you have to watch every year? And it was a toss-up between that and Christmas Vacation. And I want to say that the movie that I have the most memories, like the earliest memories, would be Charlie Brown's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute classic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm not old. Like, got my VHS.
But yeah, I think to your point there, I think just like a lot of like our answers around these ones, it is really hard not to pick the most nostalgic one, right? Like, because like that's just like how you associate Christmas. A lot of times, there's a lot of nostalgia. So I totally get that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. For me, my number one was 100% Jingle All the Way. I'm from Minnesota. It was filmed in Minnesota, the streets of Minnesota. Sinbad, the Governor, like and they were fighting over Turbo Man, the toy, and they were flying, and there was action flicks. Like that was like for me as a kid, that was a superhero movie, right? Like it wasn't, but it was, and it's all about him running around. Yeah,
Mini-Me's in there.
All about him running around trying to find a toy for his kid, and like as we get older, we're all going to start relating to this, or like finding that special gift for somebody, and you procrastinated the shit out of it, and now you got to do it, and maybe we can all go fight Sinbad in the streets, and like, that was my number one. I love that you guys bring up the Grinch, and I'll tell you right now, my favorite Grinch is actually Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Oh,
great Grinch.
Phenomenal
I
movie. Love that movie.
I'm very anti live action.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought that was a really great movie.
Oh, I love Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Same.
But that's my top. And I didn't know Harry Potter could be considered a Christmas movie. That's up there because it's magical, but I'm still
Kind of a
going
stretch,
Jingle All the Way.
but
Yeah, that one's going to be a hard no for me. I think we all knew that one was coming.
So for me, my favorite Christmas movie has to be Elf. Because I didn't grow up with some of the same movies, obviously. Like, I've seen some of them. But Elf, for me, really just captures, like, what I believe what Christmas is, I guess. Never really celebrated Christmas, but watching that movie, it just makes you feel like a part of it. It hits every emotion. You got Santa. And, like, taking, like, a deeper look into what Elf is about, you have this person who's always been an elf, who's never really fit in, and he goes to New York to kind of find himself, find his true family, the people he belongs with, and you have this like story of somebody who's lost and finds their way throughout, which kind of brings back the point of like what you guys all brought up. It was like that's kind of what encapsulates Christmas. And so at the end of the movie, he's accepted. He has, his real dad, and then he has, his adopted father, who's the elf. So I thought it just does a really good job of, bringing you in for that journey, showing you that like heartwarming, joyful side, and it's just a classic movie. So that was my reasoning behind Elf.
Great pick. It was just like spoofy enough to where like it made fun of it, but at the same time it brought it down to be like, no, here's still the traditional, here's the moral of the story. This is what we should be doing as people type thing.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, it was very real in and of itself, and the way that it kind of portrays, obviously, it's just like that duality of Christmas, like for people who get older and versus like as a kid, and you take this adult who thinks about Christmas the way typically kids do, and just really ran with it, and it does create just an incredible message. I mean, I don't think you're going to be hard pressed to find a lot of people who find Elf to be their favorite Christmas movie. I think that's a very solid pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now you got to pop in the Zooey Deschanel Christmas album and
right. There you go.
Personally, I'm a fan of the Casey Musgraves Christmas album. So we have our favorite one. What about a top 5? I know this is like super tough because there's just so many good ones. I can start it off though, and then pass it around. But for me, obviously, I already said Elf was my number 1. 2 is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, just because it's just such a fantastic film.
And the president's in it.
The president's in it. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump was randomly in it too.
Yeah, the president.
Yeah.
He's in the hotel lobby.
And then you got The Grinch, Jim Carrey's version. I absolutely love that movie. It was my younger brother's favorite movie, so like we literally watched that movie like a million times. Jingle All the Way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's 4. And then the 5th one, the 5th one is very tough because like there's so many other ones that I really liked, but I have to go The Night Before. I think that movie is just so freaking funny. Seth Rogen, all of those guys just work so well together. And it's just such a fun film. I mean, you have Miley Cyrus showing up at the end. I was like, what the hell? Coming in a wrecking ball. So that's my top 5. What about you, Gums?
Top 5, no particular order. The first one is the little town of Kingston Falls, a.k.a. the town of the Gremlins. That happens on Christmas Day. Although that movie did come out in June.
True.
That movie did come out in June. That whole event happened on Christmas Day. Like, you got a gift of a gremlin because he was all lonely and stuff. He feeds him after midnight. Things occur. That's just fun. The next one's Jack Frost. I don't know if you guys remember Jack Frost. Hold it dear place in my heart. I've seen it with my cousins and my uncle. It's about a man who basically dies and then comes back reincarnated as a snowman named Jack Frost. So he's got to tell his son and like let his son know that he still loves him and then how like to do without him. And I'm just like, man, what a message on Christmas time. Like, wow. So Jack Frost. The Grinch is my top, but again, it's the Jim Carrey Grinch. That's one of my top. The Santa Claus movie. You know what I mean? Tim Allen is just so great in that one. In fact, I really like all of them. Because we keep talking about this, I have to watch these now.
I know.
And then obviously it was Jingle All the Way. Like that was my like top one. So Jingle All the Way, the Santa Claus, the Grinch, Jim Carrey, Jack Frost, and Gremlins. I think those are probably like my top 5, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think I left off my 5th one, and Jingle All the Way was my 5th one. So, Pat, what about you?
So I said the animated Grinch being my favorite, but I think that Jim Carrey's Grinch is still in my top 5. I know that's like weird because like it's like they're both the same story, but like I love them both. They're both fucking great movies. Like I think Elf is easily in there. I think Christmas Vacation is easily in there. I initially really wanted to say that Claymation Rudolph because I think that was a big nostalgia thing for me and call it recency bias, but Lauren brought up A Charlie Brown Christmas. And I'm really just thinking like I think that's a better movie. I think it's a better movie overall than that Claymation Rudolph. And I think it just has more classic kind of hit for me. So I think I'm gonna bump it. I think I'll bump that off and bring in A Charlie Brown Christmas. I think it's a movie that I pretty much watch a thing. I think I watch it every Christmas, and I don't think can't think of the last time I did it, really. So I think that's where I'm gonna kind of sit in that top 5, with the other two coming in there being Elf and Christmas Vacation.
Quick confession: I've never actually seen the full movie of Charlie Brown Christmas because it bores me and I turn it off. So
It's like 20
what's up,
minutes.
viewers? What you guys want to do?
Oh, wow.
Right into me. Right into
Plain
me.
words.
Well, I mean, now that we're talking about that, it's got to be Charlie Brown Christmas, the claymation Rudolph, Little Drummer Boy is already mentioned, Die Hard, of course, and one that I'm actually surprised that has not come up yet, or if it did, I completely missed it. It was A Christmas Story.
Hot take. I think Christmas Story is an overrated Christmas movie.
Okay. I will agree with that. Actually, I will agree with that. But it's still a really fun movie to watch.
Great movie. I just wonder. I always wonder though, like pound for pound, all the other movies that we brought up here, does it hold? And I don't think it does. In my opinion, I think that a lot of other movies are better.
It holds as far as memes go.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's their original meme generator was A Christmas Story. You're gonna shoot your eye out, licking the pole, like all the bunny pajamas. Like, that was like
Lake
the
Lamp.
original.
Yeah.
Like that's the original meme generator for sure.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
So I feel like I should give the live action Grinch another shot. Fun fact, I saw that in the theater in high school and I was the third wheel because my friend didn't want to go alone on a date with this guy. So fun fact, I saw that in the theater. I'm gonna have to say, Charlie Brown, the Grinch. If you threw the Grinch in the animated one, I could probably tell you word for word what it is. So I watched that a lot. Christmas Vacation, Jingle All the Way. There's so many good ones. And then one that I haven't seen in a while, and I think it's up there, but I probably should watch it again, is Scrooge with Bill Murray.
Oh, yeah.
Good flick.
That's a good call
There's
out.
definitely a lot of them. But the top, I would have to go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had the fifth one was a tough one because I actually really like Four Christmases. I think that movie's pretty hilarious with Reese Witherspoon and Vince Vaughn. I think that movie's just fun. But so with that all being said, Netflix, they just seem to love to drop all of these rom-com Christmas movies in December.
Yep.
Why, what do you like them, and then why do you think they're so successful with that? Because it just brings in the viewers. I mean, if you look at the top 10, it's usually Christmas films this time of year. So I want to get your guys' take on that. I'll go with Gums first because he looks like he's ready to go.
I had to do some Googling here. Actually, I just Googled that. But why I think they do it is because you're stuck in your house typically around this time of the year. So if you drop movies now, you're going to get really good ratings on it. And everybody's actually looking for something actively to watch right now. You're not doing a lot of outside hustling. You're probably spending a lot of money, so you don't already want to go out and do other outside activities. Now, I could just be making it up, but typically I'm more in my house around this time. I think that Netflix puts out really great films. I think that who does more than them on the holiday side is Hallmark. They're the only other service that outdoes Netflix. And I'm not saying quality. I'm just saying the number of movies, Christmas related or holiday related, is Hallmark and rivaled by Lifetime. But other than that, Netflix puts them out. One that really came out on Netflix that I thought was great was Love Hard. That's a rom-com. That was a really great new one. I forgot to mention when we were saying my top 5. I should have reevaluated this because, recency bias and all, or I should say nostalgia bias. But Jingle Jangle, if nobody's seen Jingle Jangle on Netflix, please go watch that. It's a great, great Christmas movie. But I think that's why they do it. I think that's why they're so successful. Everybody wants to do it. And then most of the time, people can get very lonely around this time. So that's where the rom-coms come in. Because everybody wants that romance around Christmas. You got to bring somebody home to the family and meet them. And nobody really wants that feeling of being alone. So that's it.
Yeah. Lauren? Kirby?
Well, I mean, if we're talking Hallmark, Lifetime, Lauren could do a segment by herself. She watches those outside of the Christmas season.
All year long, I watch Hallmark Christmas movies.
I mean, Netflix has gotten really good at what they do with like producing, releasing movies. They know what they're doing. They have like a target demographic when they release these movies.
Middle-aged women.
I honestly, like, I understand like why they're so popular. I don't watch them. When she's watching like the Netflix Christmas movies, I'm usually over here playing video games.
Sometimes joins.
Sometimes
grouped in.
One time, and that was a Hallmark movie. I got roped into some very interesting movie.
The Spirit of Christmas.
Yeah. Weird.
He was dead.
But I typically don't watch them. I'll catch like, you know, lines while I'm sitting here. I'm like playing Halo or Diablo or something like that, and she'll be on the couch just watching TV. But I get why they're so successful. They're very good at, you know, timing when what they release. They're very good at like the marketing and like what their target audience is. I'm just not it, so I don't watch them. Lauren has watched like all of them.
Not all of them, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
But I think the reason, going back to why are they popular, a lot of the movies do have to do with the whole bringing someone home from the holidays. And I feel like a lot of the movies that get pumped out are kind of the black sheep coming home. So as far as relatability, a lot of people don't have the best relationship with their family. So kind of watching what they wish would happen with their family kind of gives them hope for them. So I definitely think that they're relatable, and the relatability of what those characters are going through. And when it goes back to Hallmark, I say this, you know, they are very, very predictable, and 90% of them have a happy ending. So not all of them do, you know, a lot of things happen, but just it kind of gives people hope, that unrealistic hopes a lot of times, but that there is a happiness that they can strive for. So I feel like the reason that they're so relatable is because there is a lot of people alone on the holidays, and they don't have that family, and kind of seeing the family on the screen of what a family, you know, American family should be, kind of gives them that little hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think in terms of like why they're as popular as they are, I think Gums kind of hit it pretty well too. Is that like, especially like that time of the holidays, like think just how many people are sitting at home, like kind of thing, just scrolling Netflix, you know, and they're maybe like, okay, I want to watch a Christmas movie, and I don't really have cable. Maybe I don't get the Hallmark Channel or something like that. Like, especially in today's kind of era of watching TV, you know, we flick on Netflix, I'll throw on this Christmas movie kind of thing. I'm also with Kirby in that they're not for me. You know, obviously most of them are kind of in that rom-com kind of category, and I'm pretty specific about what I like in that category. I'm not really one that necessarily goes there very often. But when one does, it comes up, it's like a gem, you know, it's really good. I'm really into it. Yeah, they're just not for me. So I can't really speak too heavily on the category, because I can't really say that I even just looked up which like Christmas movies on Netflix, and a lot of these ones that are like, you know, the Netflix originals, I'm like, I've never even heard of this. Like, I don't know what the hell I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. Like, so like I can't really be the one to necessarily say that, like, you know, I have a really strong opinion. I do know why they're popular though. And it's a combination of, right, like with what Lauren was saying about, you know, most people want to bring someone home for the holidays, maybe don't. They want that kind of that hope with it. The, you know, what Gums was saying about just being able to market to people sitting on their couch in December is so easy to do these days, that it's just this low hanging fruit for them that prints them money. So it's just so easy for them to go down that rabbit hole and just copy paste and pump them out, like, and just get ready to go.
They're definitely not like, they're all pretty much copy paste. Like you said, like there has the few movies that have differed from that same approach. Like, hey, will you be my guest so our parents don't yell at us and think we're single? Like it's almost repetitive. Yep. And forgive me here, Lauren, but especially on Hallmark.
No, I'm like. By the title, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. They are very predictable. They lost Christmas and they found it. Like,
and what do people love the most? Predictability. They love it and they eat it up, and it's just one of those things. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's like, oh, I predict this is going to happen, so now I have to see if my prediction is true. When 99% of the time, it's a validation, right? So it's like, I wish they would spice it up. So the movies that do spice it up always catch my attention in the holiday season.
Yep.
And especially with Netflix, I'm sure a lot of that too is like how much stuff do you see on Netflix where it's like they love putting stuff on there where it's like I can click play, it's never gonna stop, I can have it in the background, I can half pay attention and kind of cut back in. A lot of these movies, it's like I might be able to throw this on, go do a bunch of other things, I come back in, I'm like, I know what's happening in this film. Like easy enough.
I think for me, you guys pretty much hit the nail on the head. It's like everybody's home for the holidays. Usually when you're home, you want to watch something especially in December, you want to watch a Christmas movie, and Netflix has a plethora of them. I am a sucker for a good rom-com. I'm not afraid to admit it. Not ashamed here.
Yeah,
I will say,
love rom-coms.
Yeah, Holiday was great. That was a good one. There's a few others, but I wanted to kind of touch, throw a curveball here, because kind of what Lauren said is, all of these Christmas movies always are happy. So, do you have a Christmas movie, like a horror Christmas movie, one that you can think of that you really like that was kind of different from the mold of happy Christmas movies?
Krampus.
So, yeah.
Sorry.
Krampus,
you're good.
It's a good one.
Yeah. So I guess we'll go around. For me too, it is Krampus. I love that live action one a few years ago that they did. I thought that was fantastic. We'll go with Gums next. Go ahead.
Oh man, this was sprung out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Werewolves in Heat. No, I think there's one out there. Most of them are pretty campy horror wise. I know there's a murderous Jack Frost as well, like a scary one.
Yep.
But there's this movie. It's called Anna, like versus the Apocalypse or something. I think that is actually a Christmas movie, and that is kind of legit. So I'm gonna go with that one. That's my curveball pick of the week. I think it's like Anna versus the Apocalypse, and it's just like about really will Anna versus the Apocalypse. Like everybody's turning into zombies around her, and it's like during Christmas, and I think that's a pretty good flick.
And it's a musical.
And it's a musical. And I don't like musicals, by the way. Yeah. I don't. But I actually watched that film.
Yeah, I don't have one. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, Seth. I do think so. Most people know here already. I'm not a huge fan of the horror genre as it is, kind of thing. So especially relative to Christmas movies, like I don't know if that's even anything I've ever even searched before. Like, it's just not on the list. It's really not in the cards for me. So I'm gonna be perfectly frank. I don't have one. So I don't really know what it really from that genre even really exists outside of maybe Krampus.
Yep.
I'm gonna send you something to watch.
Oh, definitely.
So, well, going off of that whole subject, Black Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a horror movie, but as far as like what Christmas movie, I'm gonna say Last Christmas kind of threw me in the ringer, and it has the Emma or Khaleesi.
Oh, Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke. So she's in that, and that movie, without any spoilers, does not end the way that you think it will.
Fair.
Good to know. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Last Christmas. It looks all happy, and then you watch it, and you have to grab tissues. So
Sounds like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, I blurted mine out, right at the beginning. We know where I'm going with that one. It's Krampus. Like, I just love that movie. I think that, it bridges that Christmas horror gap really well. So yeah, I got to go with Krampus.
It's a
we
great
haven't
film.
or I've seen Black Christmas. He hasn't seen it.
Oh, yeah, not yet.
That one is mixing the horror and the Christmas as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll give you my Shudder login. It's on there. I'll give it to you too, Pat, so you can watch all these, catch up.
Go say it right now so the audience can.
Exactly.
We all want to watch together.
So my email. I'm just So I wanted to end on a note here. I already said mine was Krampus too, but I wanted to end like the last question bringing up here is, do you guys being the resident two of the group, do you guys have a favorite Hanukkah movie, one that you've seen? Because I know there's quite a bit. 8 Crazy Nights, all things like that. So Pat, I'm gonna start with you.
You just said it. It's 8 Crazy Nights for me. I used to watch that movie on repeat for a while, even outside of the Christmas season. I love that movie. I really liked Adam Sandler, obviously, and that's a great movie. I also will admit, I don't know if I have very many other Hanukkah direct movies on my list as much to pull from like a sample size. But I mean, come on, what is not to like about that movie, right? I mean, it's raunchy as all hell. Like, I think I was in my teens, I think, when I was watching it too. So like that kind of slapstick humor was just really big for me. But I loved that movie. I thought it was great. The music, the songs in it are great. Like, everything about that was just something that it's another just great holiday movie.
You hear that, Seth Rogen? We need more.
Yeah.
That was also a musical. 8 Crazy Nights was actually a musical.
Yes.
Animated musical.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of play off of that, I recently realized and was informed that Family Stone is it's considered a Hanukkah movie, Family Stone, because it happens and they're celebrating Hanukkah. They're not really celebrating Christmas.
It's a great movie.
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. 8 Crazy Nights is like the only one I will know.
Yeah.
And that's not like, like actively just focusing on Christmas movies or anything like that. I just don't know Hanukkah movies.
Yeah. There aren't that many.
Yeah. So few and far between, but yeah, 8 Crazy Nights.
No, but looking up, I'm curious to watch the Hebrew Hammer. What is that movie? Because I'm looking up. I don't know what that is, but you have my attention.
It's great.
Check that out.
Is it good?
It's awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
We're going to put that on the
exactly how
list.
the title sounds.
Yeah. He's literally just a crime-fighting rabbi, Jewish.
What's Mixed Nuts?
Traditional.
Don't know what that one is.
Yeah, it's on Hanukkah movie. I don't know.
So,
not sure.
real quick aside, I played in a band for quite a few years, and our bassist, Nate, was Jewish. And we're outside one night, like we're outside of our practice space. We're kind of in an industrial area is where we used to practice. I don't remember what we were talking about, but Nate like lifts his hand up to the sky and just yells Hebrew Hammer, and it like reverberated through, and like everybody stops. We're like, all right, we're going back inside now. Like lightning is gonna come down from the sky. Like we're about to get, like we're gonna get smoked on the spot. But yeah. So I now have to watch Hebrew Hammer. So
it's great.
So as Seth knows, I took my 23andMe a couple years back. I'm like 0.02% Ashkenazi. I'm from the motherland. This is how me and Seth are.
You're Jewish.
And so it's really fun though, because when Seth always like brings me in on this stuff and he like asks me these things, and I'll just go do research so I can like provide better questions, like better answers to his questions, and joke around with some of his friends and stuff. And I gotta say, probably my favorite is called Hitched for the Holidays, which is a rom-com, and it has to do with basically a guy and a woman. They come together. One's Catholic, one's Jewish. She's Jewish. And they have to go to each other's homes to like tell their, basically the same old spiel. Hey, this is my girlfriend. Hey, this is my boyfriend. So he has to take like a crash course in like the Jewish religion in order to like go to her house and do stuff. So that's one. You also have like American Tail, Full Court Miracle. But more importantly, and Seth, hopefully you can help me out here and see how this goes, is that typically in the Jewish religion, is it more of the woman's role to pass down that religion within Judaism? So I really think that one thing I would really like to see more is actually that female lead and that come from that aspect, because if that's such a big thing, I really want to see it. I want to see like her just running that household, because in that household, I know I got some Jewish friends. They run that thing. So
that'll be an intense movie. But yeah, I feel like there aren't that many like Hanukkah movies, but I actually like that idea. I think that would be really cool. For me, one of my favorites, and for the longest time, because I grew up on it and I was younger, and I do want to bring up the point too. So 8 Crazy Nights, I really never watched, because it was like, when I was younger, my parents didn't let us watch like R-rated movies, things like that, and that one had a lot of like vulgar and stuff like that, so I didn't really get to watch it, so I got to revisit it. But like looking back, Fievel Goes West, I absolutely love that movie.
Yeah.
And the beginning of the movie starts with them celebrating Hanukkah and his dad giving him the hat.
Yeah.
So the hat that he goes on the journey with is a Hanukkah gift.
Mm-hmm.
And so I absolutely love that movie. I grew up on it, and that's got to be my favorite Hanukkah movie.
My brother and I used to quote both An American Tail and Five-O Goes West, like, constantly.
And Five-O Goes West is with the mouse as well, right?
Yeah.
Like,
same.
So all of these animated Jewish movies have to do with mice. Like, is that like a common occurrence, or like is that just something that happened?
Talk to Disney about that one.
Well, I mean,
Walt was a little
running the whole show.
Rather
so.
not.
Walt was a little questionable in his beliefs, so you may not want to ask that question.
Well, he's supposed to be defrosted this month.
Yeah.
So we'll
that's
see.
true. Walt is supposed to be defrosted
Coming up
this month. Yeah.
Coming up.
Zombie
Hey,
Walt
but you have to
coming.
say his mascot is Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
So like that might be the next level. That might be some preferential, actually positive treatment. You know?
Well, I feel like mice have always been like an animated character back in the day. I mean, you got like Mighty Mouse, Stuart Little. There's so many different like mice characters that were just like fantastic. So I feel like so I feel like they kind of just like went with that and were like, yo, let's get this mice in this movie. Kind of like the Pitch and Elf when they're talking about the characters for the next book. They're like, let's put a mice on a journey across
on
the
a
west.
motorcycle.
Across to the west.
Mouse on the motorcycle.
Yeah. So I feel like it was just something that was popular back then.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard recently, and I don't know if it's true, but somebody was saying that Jerry's actual name from Tom and Jerry was Jermaine, and now I can't like get over it, and
I can't either.
call him Jermaine. Like I have to call him Jermaine now, even if it's not his real name. I'm like Jermaine the Mouse. Like it just goes.
I love the idea of that show being called Thomas and Jermaine. Of all in on that.
I would like to see them have villains that they could fight together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I would love that.
But not live action, because that movie I don't even think I watched it. And then, did you see they're trying to do like a live action Powerpuff Girls, and they can that real fast.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I think we should do an episode just about movies with mice. Ratatouille. Well, that's a rat, but still, we'll put it in the category.
Rodents.
Yeah. Same thing.
Rodents, marsupials.
Exactly.
We can do
Misunderstood.
kangaroos now.
Yeah.
Marsupial episode.
We got to bring in like the rescuers, stuff like that.
Yes.
Alvin.
Oh, yeah.
Alvin.
That opens us up a bit.
That was our Christmas episode, throwing a little Hanukkah action in there. Hope everybody enjoyed. The next episode we're actually going to be talking about is going to be about Harry Potter, because the reunion's happening on New Year's Day. So we have to get that in there. So with that being said, happy holidays, and
Let's keep it rolling.
Yes.